My little boy time is mixed up a whole lot. Because, you know, my dad got killed when I was about 4, 5 years old.
Right.
Dad had joined a group of men that called themselves Knights of Pythians.
Mm-hmm.
And they were a leader in that group. Must have been very rich.
Mm-hmm.
They bought about 100 acres of land over here around Tullahoma. Ovoca. And they named it Ovoca.
Uh-huh.
They said that was an Indian name, I don't know. There was a field down there next to the creek that we call the Indian field. We go down there and find the Indian arrowheads,
Mm-hmm.
put them in our pocket. But I ain't got one now. But I guess somebody else maybe named them or something. Or they may be poked away somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Found some of the prettiest Indian arrowheads you ever seen.
Really?
And you know, that makes me think about a person having to go out in the woods with a bow and arrow and bring in what he has to eat. They did it. They did it back then. But Indians was everywhere, I reckon, in the state of Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
But they seem to have been more in that place. I guess it's because of the stream and the waterfalls they had down there.
Yeah.
And we lived down there for quite some time. There was an old man he bound to had a pocket, a shoe full of money, but he bought 100 acres of that land and built buildings in it to give service the way they wanted it done. They had a large dining hall. It would set about a little over 100 people at one time. I've seen them lined up outside.
Really?
It was closed up in the fall of the year, and through the winter it was closed up.
Right.
But when springtime come and churches of different denominations would preserve the facilities for a certain week.
Uh-huh.
You know, we go up here to have our little thing up here somewhere in the north of the state. What is it they call it?
North of the
Our
state.
church.
Oh,
The preachers always go, all of them go up there and they have a week
Assembly.
assembly. Yeah. Well, that's what they did down there for a while. The churches that wanted to be active, they would call ahead and have everything reserved. And they would get the cooks out from Tullahoma. Most of them are black people. And they had buildings outside for them to sleep in, and they run the dining hall, and churches would call ahead of time and tell what week they wanted to occupy the place.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there'd be one go out on Saturday, and another one come in on Sunday. See, you understand? And they would do all the church work, and then on Saturday night they had a stunt night.
Uh-huh.
And that's when our fun started in that. They let us go to the stunt night, and we go to the stunt night. They'd always have a good stunt night.
What did you do there? What did you do there whenever you were there?
Well, we just went there for observation.
You just watched the show?
Yeah.
Okay.
We wasn't much of a show. And the churches that had this place, they'd have a little training period, and then on Saturday they would let us come in and see it.
Okay. And how old were you?
At that time, I was about 8 or 9 years old.
Okay. What about when you were a teenager? When you were like 19
I was coming
or
out
20?
there when I was a teenager.
Uh-huh.
See, Daddy joined this group of men that call themselves Pythians.
Right.
And if a widow woman occurs, that home was a place for her.
Right.
And that's one thing that they did before it all crumbled over. That'd be a fine thing for them to have now if you had somebody to push it and make it work. Mm-hmm. They had fine buildings to live in. I mean, they're not just real luxury buildings, but good common place to live. Mm-hmm. They had their own water and a water tank. They pumped water from the spring up into the water tank and fed all the Ovoka by that. The most of them had a faucet outside, and there were very few of them that I can remember having inside water. But they had to be careful about that in the wintertime and wrap it up good, keep it from getting frozen. See?
Right. So when you were coming out, as a teenager, what did you do after you was out? For fun.
Well, I come. See, Mama had a priority after Daddy got killed to live there as long as she wanted to. Well, she lived there a little while, and she didn't get along with the superintendent, so it wasn't long until she up and left, and she brought us back.
Okay.
But on this trip, we got some bad situations. That was during the time of the Depression, you know. And we was getting down pretty low. Me and Naoma, being real young children, our knots, our throat here had a big old knot come up on it, and nobody didn't know what it was. We found out later it's just a thing that happens if you don't get the food you need.
Right.
I didn't know we was that near out, but we was. Grandpa lived with us, but he couldn't make no money. There was no money to be made, no worse. But Mama, this is her second. See, she come out of Tullahoma in Ovoka and went up there and tried to make it on her own, and she couldn't make it. And me and Naomi was getting down pretty weak. And the Pythians, a bunch of Pythian men that had, people, members, heard about it, and they come over and talk to Mama and see what kind of situation we was in. And they got in contact with Old Man Martin. Old Man Martin, see, she'd already been down there once. And they didn't get along. Mr. Martin said, well, you can send the children down here, but she can't come back no more.
Right.
I know it hurt Mama's feelings awful bad to turn us loose, but it's either turn us loose or watch us sit there and starve to death.
Right. Right.
So she turned us loose. We went back to Ovoka. We had everything we needed at Ovoka. They put me and CM with one family, and see, the family was already sitting there, like Mama had been. And me and CM was with one family, and they left. And I went to another family, and he went to another family. And that's the way it was on up. So during this time, Mama was trying to survive there around Sparta. And there's nothing for nobody during those days. She'd had to turn us loose. But she met up with Bill Walker. Bill Walker was a bachelor man that had lived way up in years, and he was a truck driver for the county. And he was making money. He told Mama, see, they fell in together. And he told Mama, said, if you want to bring your children home, and he felt like he could take care of them, I'll see to it that you're took care of. He had a good job, making good money, and he owned a good strip of property there in Walker's Cove. Well, she took him up on that. She's come and visited down there. See, she had come out once, and they wouldn't let her come back no more, but they let us children come back. Well, we was about to starve to death, but they wouldn't let her come back. Her and Mr. Martin couldn't G-haul. So, Mom and Bill come brought us children out. We lived on top of Walker's Mountain. We lived up there. There was two houses up there. We lived in one of them. Somebody else lived in another. Log house. There wasn't no streams of water nowhere neither. We had to tote water.
Did you have any friends?
Yeah, I had friends all along the road.
Who was your best friend from back when you were young?
Hard to say. I was in so many different places.
You never got to stay nowhere.
I did meet. I was going to school at Coffee County, and when I went in the Army, I met some fellows that I went to school with. When I went into the Army, when they drafted me into the Army, after I come back out and everything, and they drafted me into the Army, I met some boys that I went to school with.
Right. So you and them became pretty good buddies?
Huh?
You and them became pretty good buddies?
Yeah.
When you went back in the military together? Okay.
Yeah, I remember them. I went to school with them.
Yeah?
We was together for a little while, and then the Army was going to do like this. Food. You don't know where you're going to be.
Right.
Right?
That's right. You don't have any say so.
When they come through, sometimes they say, I want you, follow me. You don't know where you're going, what you're going to do, but you have to follow.
Right. Did you ever go out anywhere on the weekends?
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
Well, the closest town,
You talk about the Army military now. You tell me.
we go to the closest town it was.
Uh-huh.
And of course, we go there to just have a little recreation and find us a room, maybe spend the night if our paperwork showed that we could spend the night.
Right.
If it didn't, we had to get back on campus.
Yeah.
See.
Did it cost much money to do that?
Not much, but our money wasn't no count no how.
Uh-huh.
We didn't have to spend it for nothing except in cigarettes,
Oh, okay.
beer.
Uh-huh.
And, if you wasn't a big beer drinker and cigarettes, well, you can fare pretty well.
You keep your money then.
In my case, I was sending money home to Bertie, and I didn't carry much money. I sent her home some, and I didn't need no money. I didn't have nowhere to spend it, nothing to spend it for.